Character SXM. A deep dive Sundays. Mr. T and Friends. Character SXM. A deep dive Sundays. Mr. T and Friends.
Welcome to the Late Night Show. Hope everything is okay. Hope everything is all right. I'm your host, Andrew Day. The applause. All right. What's happening on the lovely island of St. Martin? We begin the week with highlights of Friday's meeting. Of course, very interesting, as usual. It was intriguing. It was entertaining. And it was no, it wasn't informative. That means they would actually, no, it wasn't informative. But a lot was revealed. It was all about the Diamond Estate situation. Of course, over the past week, they had a demolition that took place late at night with a contractor or, an excavator breaking down the Diamond Estate ruins. They basically broke down some bricks that was there that was laid down by slave, and of course slave ran away through the Diamond Estate. It's a cultural heritage of St. Martin, of course, but it wasn't recognized as an official monument, but it was a monument. The ministers of culture and the minister of Romy was summoned to Parliament by, of course, members of Parliament asking for this urgent meeting to discuss and to find out what the hell happened, how it happened, how could this even happen on St. Martin. And the ministers, of course, having no idea, said they had no idea. So let me take it in stripes. Let me start off with the presentations of the ministers.
I would also like to state that as Minister of Romy, I strongly condemn these actions of those who destroy the structure that has such historical value to our nation. Although to my understanding, the structure was not registered on the protected monument list, it is no secret to the landowners that this structure holds an immense value. Mr. Chairman, before it is asked, let me state that the Ministry of Romy has not given any kind of permission when it pertains to this property. No permits were issued for this property, nor are there any permits being currently processed at the ministry. As minister, I will ensure that while my colleague Minister Samuel is busy with his process, I will not entertain any request for such a permit either. I just wanted to make that clear, and I thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to a healthy debate.
I am pleased to realize and see that finally, when I say the word finally, that we are at a stage where we realize that there are aspects in our life, in our community, that belongs to our history, that indicate where we come from, that indicate why we are here where we are. There has been a time in our history where we probably did not pay sufficient attention to the buildings that speaks about St. Martin's history, about street names or streets or whatever we have to protect that represents the culture, the people of St. Martin. When the message came in about the destruction of Diamond 26, it was indeed shocking, because I too could not believe that in 2023, when there is so much attention for curriculums on history, for culture preservation, and talks in the kingdom about culture and culture museums, and whether or not apologies should be done, that yet you will get persons having the bravery to, but yet in the middle of the night, to go and destroy Diamond 26. And why? Because we know the manifestations that took place on that location. I understand that a monument can be on the property of a private citizen, and also the way how we decide what is a monument. It can be that it is the private, let's say, property of a person. But when we look at it in terms of our culture and the value that it has, then I believe the respect must also be given to that. And that is why this morning, and also in the days leading up, the community have rightfully give their opinion and their outrage against the destruction of these monuments. I can remember there were two houses on the other side of Orania School, and for economic development, those two houses was taken up, put on the back of a flatbed, and they were taken down at the area of Foga, and they were blown away. There were also nice houses at the Passing Grand Hotel on the other side where the nuns were living, and I always talk about those. They were also moved for economic development. And today, we know that our history also have value. So destroying our own value that we cannot give over to the future generations is definitely wrong, definitely wrong. And today I am here in Parliament to answer questions regarding the monuments, the monument funds, whatever questions that the members of Parliament have, I will do my best to make the answers available.
Okay, so that's part one. Let's go to part two. The members of Parliament. Let's hear from the different members of Parliament with their concerns for this travesty. The reason why I say travesty is because everybody used the word travesty in the meeting. There's a travesty, and it's horrible and it's ridiculous, and how can this happen, and how dare this happen, and who is responsible? Take a look.
I think, Mr. Chairman, Emilia Wilson Estate and those ruins, they would not be here now if it was government land. Because we have been selling out this country forever. We continue to do so. But here we are, and we are the ones that are in the driver's seat right now. So I really hope, Mr. Chairman, with this government and this parliament, we really, truly make history and heritage a priority, and that we do the legislative and policy changes needed to move forward. I have some questions for the minister, for both ministers. I will start with the Minister of Romi, through you, Mr. Chairman. Can Parliament receive all of the policies and procedures related to monuments and cultural heritage? There's a number of different pieces of legislation, but what we will not find online is the actual policies and procedures. What is the internal procedure for the request of renovation to a monument? Mr. Chairman, I'd like to also know what is the policy and procedure for building permits for properties that include monuments? So that would be included in what I just asked.
When and why was the Monument Council created? In other words, what led to the decision to establish the Monument Council? What criteria are they using to enlist monuments? And is there a procedure in place to follow when ruins are found? What are the tasks and responsibilities of the Monument Council in general? I noticed in today's edition of the Daily Herald that the Monument Council consists of a few names. For the record, I would like to have that listed again and also have their educational background, expertise, and experience that's right now on the Monument Council. How many buildings and/or ruins are listed on the Monument Council? And is every building and/or ruin on the Dutch side listed completely? Is everything there? If not, why not?
And something that I noticed when at the site is that there was steel in the ruins that was the demolition part of it. So I wondered if anyone knows, or through you, Mr. Chairman, if the ministers may know if there was any restoration works going on to this particular monument. And if so, by whom? That is a question that I would really like to have answered. My following questions are concerning the Monument Council. I would like to get an idea of the workings of the council since their inception and to gauge if there are changes that need to be made as it relates to their tasks, authority, and composition based on their experience thus far and taking into account what has happened. This year, the first full term of the Monument Council will be coming to an end. What are the plans moving forward in terms of extending or filling the council with new members? What are the profiles for members of the Monument Council? Based on the experience of the council thus far, have they done an assessment on the composition of the council? Meaning, do they think they require extra expertise in a particular sector, for example? Looking back at their first 4 years, what has been their experience thus far based on what they have encountered? One of the core tasks of the council is to advise the minister. Based on what has taken place, can the minister share what advice he has received from the council thus far on the matter and the way that they have indicated the minister should move forward? And of course, I would hope that the minister has met, but the question is, has the minister met with the council since the incident? There is a national ordinance containing the new rules with regards to the basis for preservation of monuments. And the violation of Ordinance Article 12 states, anyone who violates a provision of this national ordinance or acts without or contrary to a permit, a regulation, or a condition as referred to in this national ordinance shall be punished with imprisonment not exceeding 1 year or a fine not exceeding 5,000 guilders. The offenses made punishable by this national ordinance are regarded as violations. Colleagues, I believe that this poses a huge problem. We must ask ourselves in this room if one can commit such a heinous act of willfully destroying our monuments with no regard for our culture and what it means to our people. And
there's so many things we can talk about, and I have done this over years. I've talked about our culture, and I want to talk direct to some of our politicians to stop it. Stop destroying what we have. Some have talked about the salt pond. I on record for many years talking about the Great Salt Pond, the different pastel colors, how beautiful it was, how I used to ask my bigger brother while I was 8 years to take me to Guana Bay or Mount William Hill Dutch Quarter, so when you come back in the summer, you could see all those really radiant colors from the pond. I remember the late Roy Malin in a heated discussion on culture when he went and brought the picture out and said, this is culture, this is the salt pond, after asking so many questions and physically putting it in my face. So it's nothing new to me, but we have to stop. And I'm talking direct to those persons who know they have a hand involved in knocking that monument down.
Now, I had to come in before I present the presentation by MP Bryson, because he brought over some interesting points, and I had to do some digging. So I'm going to make MP Bryson go, and then I'll come back with a follow-up, because I did get some information concerning who is responsible really, or who is allegedly responsible for the travesty of at Diamond Estate.
The issue of the fine that was mentioned earlier by MP Ramu, indeed, that fine is legislated in the National Ordinance on Monuments, but there are other criminal laws and civil laws that can apply to the destruction of such a property. Can the minister, in consultation, perhaps with the Minister of Justice, just for the record, indicate what other possible violations, for example, the destruction of another person's property without express consent of the owner, is that a crime? Is that something that is to be tolerated in this country? I would like to know that indeed. Mr. Chairman, I also need to understand, and this may be to the Minister of Romy, although I do understand that the cadastre officially falls under the Minister of Finance, but there is a close relationship between the Minister of Romy and the Minister of the Ministry of Romy and the cadastre. And why I say this, in these two made brief, I noticed something very odd, and in other made brief as well. Whenever someone has power of attorney in any way to represent the owner of a property, and they do anything at the cadastre, all the cadastral documents, for example, the adjacent property, says clearly who has power of attorney. Interestingly enough, Mr. Chairman, the property on Diamond Estate is probably one of the first made brief I've ever seen where the person that has power of attorney to represent this property is not listed. I would like to understand what the procedures are for the listing of who the representatives are in public cadastral documents. Because the public, for many reasons, needs to know, if I have a problem with this property here that's spilling sewage, who do I contact? Who is the representative? Which is why, like I said, I see here the authorized representative is listed. Also in the Chamber of Commerce, when you go, let's say it's under an NV, you see the director of that company there.
It was kind of weird. The whole meeting, MP Westcott didn't sign in, and then she came in late, and then she signed in, and then she went on a whole tirade of different questions concerning, you know, the travesty that took place. But she took it from a different angle as far as government policies is concerned. And then I get to do some digging to find out that her son, Andy Westcott, apparently has a real estate company and is representing the company, or allegedly representing the person, the estate, who's the estate under, and yeah, apparently, so they say, the little children say, not me. Don't say the dick say. No, I'm just repeating what the little children say. That it's Andy Westcott's fault. Yes, but you know, Auntie Sarah came and she, gave a presentation. We'll give you some other highlights.
We talk about nature. And yes, in the monument ordinance, what can be a monument and then a decision to protect some of these is quite broad. There are many things that can be declared a monument. And so, when you look at the nature policy plan that the government has developed, again, there, the approval by Parliament is required by law. Has the nature policy plan been sent to Parliament for approval according to law? Mr. Chairman, there has been a lot of talk about building codes. Our building codes are not up to date, etc., etc. So the ministry, and I would like to know who was the driving force behind the new building code, the bulbous slate. This bulbous slate is so extensive that the Ministry of Romy has to carry out training sessions before this bulbous slate can go into effect. Does the ministry feel, and that's why I asked who's the driving force behind it, because does the ministry feel that where that is concerned, we might have become just a tad bit too technical for our St. Martin's environment? Do we really? Because now the question would be, when will it go into effect? When will you decide, Mr. Chairman, that, well, I think the people understanding. Because don't let us only think of large projects in terms of buildings, but everybody who wants to build would be subjected to this huge bulbous slate. And I encourage everybody to check this bulbous slate. It is not just a bulbous slate. And is it available in the English language as well?
Now, apparently, independent member of parliament, Christophe Emmanuel, also known to the late night as Savage Chris, he informed Parliament that there is construction taking place at another monument that is recognized, and that is the courthouse. And of course, we know that it is a monument, but an extension is taking place as we speak at the courthouse. And he was wondering, do they have a permit or permission? Because you can't be a hypocrite and be upset about the Diamond Estate, and then at the same time, you don't care about what's happening at the courthouse, right? But then again, this is St. Martin. It's not a real place. So, he raised the following issue.
Mr. Chairman, there is serious construction work going on the courthouse right now. Now, as we speak. Serious work. The whole roof has been defaced or taken off for replacement and reattached or replaced or whatever it was done with it. There's scaffolding all over. There is serious work going on the courthouse right now. So I would like to ask the Honorable Minister of Vromi and the Honorable Minister of ECYS, do they have a monument permit for the works that is being carried out now? Do they have a building permit, a repair permit, whatever permit is needed for the works that are being carried out now? And Mr. Chairman, through you, please indicate to the ministers that the answers to that question don't need 2 weeks, because the ministers have to sign the permit and the decree for a monument permit to carry out works on a monument. Mr. Chairman.
Now, of course, at the end, Savage Chris did not care when the ministers were coming back. All he wanted is to hear from the ministers whether the courthouse have a permit to extend or remodel or refurbish or add, yes or no. then this drama happened.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. I still haven't received the documents from the minister.
Which document?
The request for the monument permit for the courthouse. Mr. Chairman, work is going on right now as we speak on the courthouse.
Okay.
The courthouse is a monument. For that work to be going on, they need a building permit and they need a monument permit. We have both ministers here.
They don't
that
need a
don't need
building
2
permit.
weeks. Well, whether they need it or not, they need a monument permit. They need something.
Okay. It is not necessarily a point of order. Minister? No what? The minister has indicated, the Minister of Romeo has indicated that he has no comment at this time. What I can, no, I'm saying that you have requested a permit. The minister did not walk with permits in his pocket, but he has indicated in his opening remarks that he has granted no permit. He has received no request for any permit, so he can't grant you a copy of something that doesn't exist. So it's not, he said that in the opening remarks. Yeah, the minister, oh no, that's true. What the minister referred to was Diamond Estate, but for the courthouse. Minister, have you granted a permit, as far as you know? Yes, for the courthouse. It's on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There has been no permit request nor permit granted by the Ministry of Romy with regards to the courthouse. Not Diamond Estate, for the record.
Okay.
Again.
Minister of Education. Minister of Education. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, in regards to that specific question, there has been a request for a permit and it is in process. Thank you. We are not having a third round or a continuation of it. The minister said there has been a request. It's in process. So you can take it from there. I thank you all for your presence. The meeting is adjourned until further notice, and I wish you a pleasant weekend.
So basically, we are upset about the travesty of Diamond Estate, but we're not upset about what's happening at the courthouse because, you know, it's the law that's doing it. The judges, the court of guardian, not the court of guardianship, the court of St. Martin, Curacao, you know, it's like, hey, you can't ask them nothing because, of course, a request is in and it's in process, but they're working. So that means I can go and remodel my house now, and I don't have to put in a request or anything, or I could send it in after because, yeah, if the courthouse could do it, I could do it too. St. Martin is not a real place shirts now available. If you want to get one, just holler at me and I'll get it to you. Yes, shameless plug. Welcome to the Late Night Show. We have a good one for you. Let's begin.
You know it's me, Mr. H.E., straight out of Sugar City, St. Kitts of the Grandmaster's Band. Yo, let me tell you something now. Say, Martin, we coming, hire me in on the 25th of February. We will be there. How you mean? Yeah, we're gonna be sexy this tonight. You're gonna be crazy. This one is called Outside Again. Say Martin Sugarman style. Yo, trust me, you're gonna be sexy. You don't know. But Masters Band will be there. Collision Band, a whole heap of DJs right there at Moon Bar. People, get your tickets. You don't want to miss this one, because you don't know. When God Masters Band come around, it's proper shellings. You understand? Outside Again. Yo, you're gonna be madness. People, come on, we're on the outside again. Oh, you mean we outside like a doormat? Yo, watch it now. Yo, people, the 25th of February, don't miss it. Moon Bar, gonna be, hey, yo, shell down. Yo, watch it, you know, Gun Masters Band, we coming, rooting, ra, 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 boom.